Hello, hello. Welcome to 9.5. In this lesson, we're going to be going over patterns with numbers. And patterns are something that you guys are very familiar with. We've talked about them before this year, and I'm sure in like every year before this, you have heard the word pattern and kind of know what they are. So before we get started, I just want to remind ourselves how we find patterns, and it's kind of the same as finding the rule of a table. Like if I had a table and I wanted to know what the rule was between each one, then I would have to know, first of all, are we adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? And then I would know how many after that. So in this case, let's look at this table here. This over here, add however many. This is kind of finding the rule for this first section of numbers right here. 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, and then there's some empty ones up here. So what I want you to do, they've done the first part for you already. What I want you to do is to figure out the rest of the rule. We know we're adding, the number's getting bigger, but adding by what? Go ahead and write that on your page real quick. Should be adding by 3. 0 to 3 is 3, 3 to 6 is 3, 6 to 9 is 3, 9 to 12 is 3, and we could go on and on and on. Okay, and you can even see that in this table they do that. Sometimes in a table, they'll ask you to find a number that's kind of out of sequence. Here they go, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they jump all the way up to 8. So knowing this rule can really help us get all the way to the one that they're looking for. In this case, they're looking for the 8th sequence in this table. Okay, so that's for the extra lives. For the gold coins, there's another rule. So this bottom section does not follow the same rule as the top section. So there's a different rule down here. They say we're adding again. Go ahead and figure out how many we're adding to finish up this rule. I got +6 every time. 0 to 6, 6 to 12, 12 to 18, etc., etc. And they say the 8th sequence should be 48, which I would agree with. Okay? But you can sure go ahead and figure out all the way up to the 8th sequence by doing these. However, there is a way that's faster. Something that we can do with multiplication and division. So we look at our numbers that they give us, and this is where we start to figure out what we multiply or divide by. If I look at number 1, this first sequence, I go from 3 to 6. What would be the rule if I was multiplying? Multiply by what to get from 3 to 6? If you said times 2, that would be perfect. Now we have to check and make sure that that rule applies to these other numbers to make sure that it's true. 6 up to 12, that's times 2. I'll just check one more because I'm pretty sure if 3 of them are the same, then the whole table is going to be the same. So I'll check this next one, sequence 3. 9 times 2 is 18. So they're multiplying by 2 here. Multiply by 2. So one thing that you're going to be hearing in this lesson is going to be the word related to, or the phrase related to. How is the top row related to the bottom row? And how is the bottom row related to the top row? Where have we heard that word related before? Probably when you think about family, right? You're related to your grandmas and grandpas, you're related to aunts and uncles, you're related to cousins, siblings, parents. So being related to something means that it goes along with it. In this case, we're looking at numbers here. How is this number related to the number below it? Or, if we're going the other way, how is this number related to the number above it? Okay, so we just found out how we can go down. Whenever we go down in a table, I'm going to turn this arrow the other direction. Whenever we go down in a table, we multiply by whatever the rule is. 3 times 2 is 6. Now, that means if we go the other way, let me erase my arrow now. If we go the other way, we're going to be dividing. So when I go up, we'll divide. So then, let's start with the bottom number. 6 divided by what is 3? 6 divided by 2, right? 2 goes into 6 3 times. So this number over here doesn't change. Whatever you're working with over here, whether you times by 2 going down, you'll divide by 2 going up. Times by 2 going down, divide by 2 going up. Okay? And this just shows how those numbers work together, how they go together, how they're related is what you'll hear. And you'll see too, now we can use this rule to figure out this empty box. Instead of going 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, so that's going to be my guess. I'm going to put that in red. I just skip counted by 3s to all the way up to 8 to fill in that box. Now let's see if my rule holds out here. 48 divided by 2. If you need to work it out, go ahead and work it out. I'm just going to do it really quick so you can see. 48 divided by 2. 2 goes into 4 2 times. 2 goes into 8 4 times. So 24 is our number for the 8th sequence in this chart. But we got there a lot faster than having to count by 6s all the way up that 8 times. Okay, so keep this in mind because we're going to be seeing all of this again in the questions below. Let me scroll down a little bit here. We're going to look at number 1 together. Okay, looking at number 1, use the given rules to complete each sequence, which they've started the sequence for us here. Then complete the rule that describes how nickels are related to dimes, so how the top row is related to the bottom row. How do they go together? Here the rule is adding 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, you guys know that. And for the bottom row, you add 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Whoops, I was about to write a 4. That's not right. There we go. Okay, now let's look at this here. To find the rule that shows how the top row is related to the bottom row, we're going to multiply by what? Let's look at our numbers. 5 times what is 10? Easy one. 5 times 2, right? Now we have to check and make sure the rule is the same. 10 times what is 20? 2 again. Let's check the one we just did. Think of quarters. 25 times what is 50? If I have 2 quarters, right? 50 cents times 2. So multiply by 2. That's kind of the rule for how the top row is related to the bottom row. And now if we look at 2 and 3, and actually 4 and 5 are doing the same thing as well, except they're not going in numerical order here. They skip some. So you have to be careful and watch and see if it goes in order or not. Number 5 goes in order, but 2, 3, and 4 do not. So you have to be careful about that. Okay, the directions for here say, complete the rule that describes how one sequence is related to the other. How the top sequence is related to the bottom sequence, or how the bottom sequence is related to the top sequence. And they'll tell you which one to do first. Number of books by the amount spent. So there's your 2 titles here for your rows in your table. Oops. Number of books, so you're going down. That was our first one. When you go down, what operation do we do? Multiply. So I know I'm going to be multiplying something to get from the top number to the bottom number. That's going to help me know what this is a lot faster than figuring out what this rule is and then having to skip count all the way up 8 times. Okay, same thing here. Weight of the bag, number of marbles, those are our two things. Weight of the bag came first, so we're going up this time. I'm not sure what that's about, just ignore it. Okay, when you go up from bottom to top, we're going to be dividing by something. What's your rule? And then use that here. So it'll be 360 divided by something will give you this number. It's going to be a lot faster than figuring out this rule and then counting 12 times. It's kind of a big number to count up to. So that's a lot faster way to do it. The rest of the numbers that I want you to do for this assignment are on your assignment chart. Make sure you take a peek at that. But I do want to go over to the back page, the review questions. So find that very last page of this lesson. Nope, not that one. This one. All right. 1 and 2 ask you questions similar to what we just did, but let's look down a little ways here at these bottom questions. Now these are review questions, so these are things that we have seen before, but it might take you a little while to get them back into your brain. So I'll give you a little tips here. What is the value of the following expression? And I see a whole bunch of numbers and symbols in here, but where do we start? I think PEMDAS on this one. Order of operations, okay? This one I think you can do. What is the value of the 9 in this number? On number 5, there's a keyword I want to highlight here. What is the best estimate for the sum of 3/8 and 1/12? Estimate is our key word. This is going back quite a ways. They want you to use benchmarks here. There are 3 numbers we like to use for benchmarks. And what they are, if I drew kind of a number line. Maybe. There we go. Looks like this. 0, 1/2, and 1/2. And then you take your numbers and you cut this up for each number, and then you put a dot for the numerator, and then whichever one it's closest to, that's what you round these numbers to. So 3/8 will become 0, half, or whole, and 1/12 will become 0, half, or whole. And then this word sum tells you which operation to do, and that's going to help you find your answer. Okay, so be careful on that one. And then let's see here. This one, number 6, goes back to something that we talked about in chapter 8, where they give you a word problem and they want you to write a fraction. So the answer for this one is just a fraction. Make sure you check for simplest form. Okay? If you need to go back and look through the videos for chapter 8, go ahead and look back through those videos. Don't be afraid to do that, or go back into your notebook and look through your notebook, whatever resources you need. If you really get stuck, make sure you email me, okay? You guys have my email and you know how to do that. I'll see you guys later in the next video.